Holloway Consulting Group
strives to demystify project management.
At Holloway Consulting Group, we demystify project management and process improvement. Hi, Yaquan Holloway with Holloway Consulting Group, and I was sitting here thinking about what makes a project manager a strong project manager. Like, what are those leadership traits that I look for in a project manager, or I just expect? And it made me think about my first 4 years, 3 or 4 years as a project manager. Kind of lucked into a good job, to be honest. I was an analyst, and it just seemed like the next step would be I'd get a project management role. And so I did. And I probably got it more for my personality and style than anything. I'll talk to anybody about anything ad nauseum, right? And so I did a lot of my projects that way. I talked, and I don't want to say I BS my way through things, but I would just talk my way into things and figuring out stuff. And I'm really good at forming and maintaining relationships. And so I knew what kind of candy different people liked, and I just kind of stumble around and get things done. I had even I didn't download because there was no way to download. I actually had the PM Bach, and it was my schooling on what project management was. This was back in the days of Ask Jeeves. I would ask Jeeves a couple of things, but that PM Bach was my guide. And I did okay, but then I got into a role where I had more than one project, right? And I was really struggling to navigate all of those different things. And there's only so much you can scale your personality before you just exhausted, because you don't really have the processes and all those things. So I think I had the makings of a good PM, and over the years, I've learned I actually did get some training, so that was great. My boss was like, "Have you ever been trained?" Because it doesn't feel like it. I did get some, but I don't think that's enough. I don't think training is the end all to be all in the world of project management. I think there are some traits as a leader, because effectively you're a leader of people, even if they don't report to you, you're leading them. And so I have just a short list, top 5 key leadership traits for project manager success. This is all my opinion, of course, because I believe so strongly in relationships. That's the number one thing on my list, is the ability to manage relationships, but also to know which relationships to manage. Being able to quickly understand who your stakeholders are, sizing them up, and determining what it takes to manage the relationship with that stakeholder. That is so key. And you can get a long way that way. I think I got a couple of promotions that way, right? Of being able to manage relationships well, be a person of your word, understand what they're looking for, what success looks like to them, and getting those things done. Getting things done, the ability to get things done. And it takes different things and different skill sets in different environments. I wouldn't say, maybe not different skill sets, but you have to understand the environment that you're in and what the law of the land is there for how to get things done. That's one of the first things I'm trying to figure out when I'm dropped into a place is, how do people get things done in this environment? Is it by meeting in committee? Is it by talking to the leaders? Is it by making sure that you have the meeting before the meeting so that everybody's on one page? But getting things done is very, very important. And you have to be able to balance that. You don't want to be a bulldozer in getting things done, but you don't want to be, this is not a real word, namby-pamby. It's a word to me. You can't just be someone that can't hold anybody accountable for anything, right? So you have to hold people accountable with empathy. And also in the ability to get things done and hold people accountable, you have to have mechanisms in place in order to remember what you said you were going to hold people accountable for. I mean, there's so many tools out there right now. I'm pretty tool agnostic, Smartsheet, Microsoft Project, spreadsheet, right? But okay, manage relationships and the ability to hold people accountable with empathy in order to get things done. And I tied closely to that one, so I don't even know if I should count this as a separate number, is effective follow-up. And so many times we're talking to so many people and we got so many balls in the air. What's your system? What's your organization for making sure that you're following up with people and the things that they said they were going to do, they're actually doing? I talk a lot about that when I talk about effective meetings, because meetings are usually where you're getting these new items to follow up on. And so just being able to capture what you said, what people said, and then the routines and the cadence around following up to make sure those things, and noticing when somebody keeps saying, oh, next week, oh, next week, right? So effective follow-up. Strong communication. You have to be able to communicate. I think it is, I should have said it is number one. You can manage relationships, but if you're not communicating effectively, what the heck are you managing? And that's verbally, that's written, that's knowing when to text, when to email, and when to have a meeting. That's being able to facilitate conversations between people, especially when they're at odds. And that's being able to listen. First, the most important part of communicating is listening. I laugh to myself, not out loud, because it wouldn't look nice, at how many times people are talking past each other. She's saying the exact same thing he's saying, but she's not listening to him and he's not listening to her. Like, that's the biggest problem I see all the time. And listening to people, especially when they're at odds, they're usually saying the same thing with a slight twist maybe. So effective communication, strong communication, being able to facilitate conversations and meetings. And then last but not least, if you know me, you've heard me say God has not called us to a life of comfort. I don't know why I know this to be true, but in my soul, we want to be comfortable all the time. And as a strong project manager is comfortable being uncomfortable, because there are so many things you don't know when you're first starting an initiative. You're not going to be a subject matter expert because you don't have the time to. You're orchestrating, but you have to be comfortable talking to experts, and they're going to know more than you every time. You have to be better at listening and asking the right questions. But if I see project managers get scared and start to be ruled by fear, and that I have imposter syndrome, it is typically because they're uncomfortable and they're not comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you're building up your resilience is so key so that you can stand in it. And hey, yeah, guys, I'm not sure about this. Here are my questions. And knowing sometimes you're going to ask the wrong questions and sometimes you're going to look like a bit of a goofball, but it's okay. You'll live through it. So comfortable being uncomfortable and having that resilience with a lot of positivity on being okay that you don't know, right? You don't have to always be right. Those are my leadership traits. I said top 5. I felt like I'd said more than that, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Managing relationships, accountability, balance with empathy in order to get things done. Strong communication. So that's facilitating conversations and meetings and listening. Effective following up. I had that attached to accountability with empathy. So maybe this is I'm sorry. I'm a math person too, kind of. So I'm sorry that my counting is off. And then being comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to be a bit gritty with that, right? So if you want to talk more, reach out to me, leave me a comment, DM me. But I love talking about this stuff. We have a community of project managers where we talk about this stuff together, especially those of us and those of you that are independent type project managers. Our goal is to have a wonderful community where we can all just kind of excel in our practice and iron sharpen iron. I hope you're having an awesome day. It's been great sharing with you.